Hello and welcome to this week's Theory with Smart Learner. In today's video, we are going to be covering road and traffic signs. So some interesting things to note about road and traffic signs. So road and traffic signs is the biggest topic that you have to learn when practicing for your theory test. It's also quite a varied topic, which means it's quite hard to learn. However, because of this, it's one of the most useful and important topics, especially when practicing for practical lessons. So let's look at some shapes of signs. So obviously we have the circle sign, we have the rectangle sign, and we have the triangle sign. So the circle sign, they generally mean orders, such as do not exceed 30 miles per hour. As for rectangle signs, they tend to mean information, such as exits when approaching a roundabout. And triangle signs tend to mean hazards, such as roadworks up ahead. There are some outcasts to this rule, and that is the stop and give way sign. The stop sign is an octagon and the give way sign is an upside down triangle, so they're easily identifiable. Now let's look at some colours of signs. So there's red, which is a warning or mandatory sign, such as 30 miles per hour or stop. We have blue, information or motorway sign. Green, which tends to mean primary routes or go. We also have white, which we tend to use for non-primary routes or national speed limit. We have yellow signs, which are temporary signs. And then we have brown signs, which are tourist signs, such as museums or cathedrals. So let's look at some images versus worded signs. So here we have Ford versus a man walking across the road. So when you look at the man walking across the road, I personally see sort of like the Beatles cover of Abbey Road, them crossing on the zebra crossing, and that's what the sign means. It's beware of zebra crossing. And there's also ford signs. So if you know what ford means, which just means a river or stream that's not deep, then you know what the sign means. It means shallow water. So now let's try an activity. For this activity, we're going to try and match the shape to the colour. For example, red circle sign means no entry. Pause the video and give it a go. So some of the signs that I came up with were mini roundabout, go, national speed limit, there is no yellow circle sign, and there is also no brown circle sign. Road closed ahead, parking, A roads, non-primary routes, temporary lane closure, and tourist information. When it comes to triangle signs, they could be a little bit more tricky. So obviously we have red triangle signs such as major roundabout. However, when it comes to blue, green, and white, there is no triangle sign. However, there is a yellow triangle sign, for example, mud on road ahead. But again, when it goes to brown triangle signs, there isn't one. This is because triangle means hazard, and obviously the other colours don't represent hazards, which is why the majority of the signs are red. Now let's take a look at some more confusing signs. For example, pass both ways to get to the same destination. This is quite a tricky sign. We also have no stopping, which is often confused with the no waiting sign. This is because they both look so similar. The way that I like to remember it is both lines is a little bit more strict and therefore means no stopping, whereas the other one only has one line. We also have contraflow, which is confused often with with flow. Again, they look very similar. The way that I tell the difference is contraflow means against the flow of traffic, so they'll be going in opposite directions. The next sign that we have is no overtaking. Then we also have T-junction, which is often confused with no through road. Although they don't look similar, it's because of the T shape people often confuse them. And then lastly, we also have no motor vehicles. Now let's look at analysing road signs. So for example, we have this sign here. We can break this sign down into this. Red means mandatory or warning, circle means order, and then we also have the two arrows. All of this adds together and makes a give priority sign. The reason we know this is a red circle usually means do not. When we add this with the fact that the image shows two arrows, which we are going to imagine as cars, the left side being us, that arrow is red, and red means stop. The next sign we are going to look at is this one. We can easily break this down into a red triangle and then two arrows crossing each other. Put that all together and we get two-way traffic crosses a one-way street. The next sign that we have is a little bit more tricky. Again, it can be broken down just to a colour, shape and image, but the image is a little bit more ambiguous. This time it's a fence. However, if we have the additional knowledge that we would see as that level crossing, which is just a place where a train crosses a road, we know that it means level crossing with a barrier. Now it's your turn to give it a go. So for this sign, I want you to try and break it down and analyse what it is. Pause the video now and give it a go. So the answer is actually height restrictions. We can tell the sign is height restrictions because of the arrows pointing upwards and downwards, and also the fact that there is clearly a measurement on there, in this case 4.4 meters. We hope you found this video helpful. We have also left some links to revision material in the description. Make sure you follow us on all our social media and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching.